Blue Dolphin here with Hoplite Security, and we're about to get into the incident handling with Splunk video. And this is going to be the reconnaissance phase, so let's just have some fun, get right into it. My blog will be down below if you want to follow along. Jumping right into things here, I'm not going to read through the preamble. You can do that on your own. This is going to be a pretty quick video. Again, I just want to quickly showcase and just talk about how you can detect reconnaissance, basically port enumeration, nothing fancy, in your environment with Splunk. Scrolling down here, we'll just look at the first question and it just wants to know. So it basically tells you there's a Suricata alert and it wants to know what CVE is associated with this Suricata alert. Now, if you don't know with Splunk, you can actually add the Suricata feature and add on, and it's literally going to give you CVE types. And this is going to come across as a signature. So let me show you what it looks like here. So we're jumping into Splunk. Let me fire it up. All right, I'm in Splunk here. I've got my index going. We're looking for everything. There's a million things. There's too much to look through. Look at that. We're already at 700,000 logs. Okay, so we're immediately going to switch over to source type. And if you don't know with Suricata, you literally just do source type Suricata. Super helpful. We're going to hit enter. This is going to trim it down now because now we're looking at everything that Suricata has fed us. But 11,000 events, that's nuts. We can't do that. So we're going to do source and we're going to add our IP in because that's provided in the preamble if we just go through and read it. So doing this, it's going to bring it down a bit, but it's still a fair amount. So we're going to toss in our pwn domain, which is I'm really Batman, or I'm really not Batman.com. And this is going to bring it down a bit. But now what we're going to do is what's key. We're going to do and CVE. So watch this. Watch this. We're going to do and CVE. And boom, 38 events. All right, so this is a little difficult to look at. I actually don't like looking at these weird fields. So we're just going to throw in there. We're going to do a pipe command. And with Splunk, you can actually do table. And in this case, it's going to be table. I think it's alert signature. Yeah. Okay. So this is going to format the table, pop us over in the statistics tab here. And look at this. We can see our CVEs. And we have one CVE here. So that's going to be 2014-621. And that's, of course, our answer. Okay, let's go ahead and jump over to the next part. So what is the CMS our web server is listening to? So obviously the answer is here, but let's just talk a little bit about how we're going to do this. So there's a few ways. One, we can kind of look at files that are being passed, like uploaded or downloaded from like content management system. Secondly, we can also look at the URI or URL agents, because typically if you're uploading to any type of content management service, this is where in your environment, you're going to start to create Splunk alerts where you're actually going to be looking for content management strings, content management user agents, and you can create alerts that let you know what type of content management is being seen in your environment. So if you have an enterprise environment with like Joomla and you start seeing like Kentico, you can actually alert on that in Splunk by taking what we're going to kind of do here and just building it out a bit. But the way we're going to find this is we're going to keep our index, our source type Suricata, our source, but we're actually going to change the table. We're going to keep this super simple, and we're literally just going to look in the HTTP URL. So hopefully, we all have our HTTP streams enabled. I know for this example it is. We're going to hit search, and this is going to be pretty easy. So we have 23 statistics, but as we look through here, I believe if we scroll down, we'll just see Joomla any moment now. Okay, to be honest, I might be eating humble pie here. I'm not seeing what I thought I would. Let me just, oh, you know what? I have to get rid of CVE. That's the issue. Okay, let's get rid of the CVE count here. Now we're going to search, and I think we'll actually, yeah, here we go. So there we go, Joomla index.php component search. So it's going to be Joomla. Okay, let's get into the next one. This is going to be, what is the web scanner? Okay, so this is a tricky one. So in the real world, and what we're going to do here are very different. So in the real world, you're typically not going to find an answer like Accunex. So just like in the obvious, in this case, it's in the user agent. So if this is the real world and we want to make some Splunk alerts to actually alert and create visualizations on vulnerability scanners we see in our environment, we're going to be needing to do a combination of like initial triggers on user agents that are known to be used by vulnerability scanners. And then we're going to need to do a check on any query that is using a known user agent to see what type of strings and to check those URLs or URIs to see if they have any signatures. I know like Nessus, I know Rapid7 Nexpose, I know Greenbone Vulnerability. They actually have identifying strings if they are testing exploitations, but not everything can have an identifying string. But anyways, at a high level, if you want to create something in your environment with Splunk, you want to look up common user agents and common strings by vulnerability scanners and aggregate them into your Splunk alerting and visualization. So let's go ahead and find AccuNext here, the vulnerability scanner. So the way we're going to do this is jumping over to our existing query. We're going to keep our source, our domain, source type, but we're just going to change, we're going to blow away our table, and we're actually going to throw in a stats thing here. So we're going to do stats because typically when you're doing a vulnerability scanner, what's happening is you're sending tons of traffic. It's a broadcast storm. So we can actually look by user agents and to see which user agent has a ton of activity. And again, in the real world, this isn't always going to work for most vulnerability scanners. In some cases it will, but not usually. But you can see here we're running AccuNext, so that's pretty straightforward, right? And then we're going to do the last step here, but then I'm just going to quickly show a cool way to create a general alert just to help you find anyone who's scanning your environment or running Nmap. But before we do that, let's quickly get into step 4 here. So what's the IP address? So obviously, we're just going to do stats count by destination IP, and we're just going to see it right here. It's going to be the one with some action. But then let me show you something. Yeah, so here it is. It's the .40 answer. So big whoop, or sorry, .70. It's guesswork there. But let me just first showcase something really cool you can do if you're just looking to create a general Splunk rule in your environment for port scanning. Okay, so let's start. Let's go back up to index and source type. For source type, we're actually just going to do wildcard. Now what we're going to do is this is going to be a little trickier. So we're going to start off by doing a table, and we're going to check stats right away. We're going to create a custom variable DC, okay? And this is going to be DC destination port. So we're going to do dest underscore port. And again, what we're looking for here to detect port scanning in our environment is to find traffic, lots of traffic. So we're going to say as num underscore dest because we want to rename it. So we want it to show up as this. And then we're going to add the variable destination under IP underscore IP. Perfect. And we're going to say destination IP as number destination as number underscore destination IP by source IP. Okay, hopefully this works. This is a mouthful. I know. We'll go over this in a second. Now we're going to do another pipe, and we're going to say where the number destination port is larger than 500 or the number destination port is larger than 500, or sorry, IP. So what we're looking for is anything where a port, something has done hit over 500 ports, or if something's hit over 500 IP. So we're going to say where num underscore dest underscore port greater than 500 or num underscore dest underscore IP greater than 500. And again, this is something you can implement in an environment right now to start getting results. So we're going to hit search. I think I have to close up the gaps here with the greater than signs. Yep, so let's close that up. Let me close this one up here as well. Okay, and then this should work. Let's go ahead and fire it off. Oh, we got an issue. Okay, here we go. I just had to put a space for the as characters after dest port. But you can see here we're coming up. So check this out. So we have these IPs, and it's saying, look, these IPs hit 4,000 ports across 9 IPs. Like, this is definitely port scanning. Hitting 16,000 IPs across 23 ports, not as big of a concern. There's other things that come to mind, but initially this one right here is coming to mind. This 2.50, and then of course we do know that .70 was the attacker. And I mean, again, right here, 7 IPs, and that, because usually if you're port scanning, if you're doing discovery, this might be discovery here, this .100 address, because it's hitting 16,000 IPs and just, a handful of ports each. Whereas if we look at like .20, .70, .50, they're hitting a few IPs, tons of ports. Anyways, you can go to the official Splunk page. That's where this query actually came from. Other than that, see everyone in the next